For years, people talked about LaMelo Ball like he was some basketball magic trick that stopped working the second you looked at the scoreboard. Flashy passer, empty stats guy, too much razzle-dazzle, too fragile, can't build the winner around him. Some people even talked about him like Charlotte had made some giant money mistake and chained the franchise to a highlight reel. And to be fair, if you said that 6 months ago, you at least had a case. The Hornets had gone 67 and 179 across 3 seasons, dead last in the league. LaMelo had only played 43% of Charlotte's games since his All-Star year. He would drop 50 and they would lose. He would post a triple-double and they would lose. He would average nearly 26 a night and people would still walk away saying, yeah, nice numbers. What does any of that actually do? Now look at the picture again. Charlotte ripped off a 9-game winning streak, their longest since the 1997 to 1998 season. They won 6 straight games by 15 or more, which put them next to teams like the 2017-18 Warriors, the 2003-2004 Pistons, and the 2011-2012 Spurs. That's not normal company. They also put together a franchise record 10-game road winning streak. They beat Orlando, they beat Dallas, they beat Denver, they beat Houston, they beat San Antonio, and they humiliated Boston 118-89. Suddenly, the same franchise people treated like a running joke started looking like the sort of playoff team nobody wants to mess with. And the center of that change is still LaMelo Ball. Quick pause for those who aren't subscribers yet. Subscribe and tell me which player you want next. Because stories like this are way more fun once the league finally has to admit it got the guy wrong. The funniest part is that league people actually saw this coming years ago. There's an old reaction from a player who went up against him and basically said, I had no idea he was that fast. No idea he could get downhill like that. He's extremely smart. He passes with the best of them already. And he's 6'7". Then he finished with the obvious line. LaMelo is a problem. That was the truth before the numbers, before the losing, before the injury label swallowed everything else. LaMelo has always looked like a problem. His story never started in a normal way either. It started in the loudest possible way. Chino Hills, YouTube, viral clips, full gyms, chaos. He was part of that 35-0 Chino Hills team that felt less like a high school program and more like a basketball internet event. Then came the 92-point game. 92. That kind of number does 2 things at once. It turns you into a phenomenon and it gives critics a lifetime supply of material. People were already saying it then. Stat padding, no defense, too much flash, selfish, all style. And LaMelo never chose a normal route after that. He didn't do the neat college pipeline where you get cleaned up by a blue blood program and handed to the draft with a bow on top. He went to Lithuania at 17. That whole experience was messy. His team went 8-27. He averaged only 6.5 points in 8 games. Then came the JBA, his father's startup league, and most people treated that like performance art with a scoreboard. Then Spire, which at least had some basketball legitimacy, though nowhere near the visibility front offices usually want. So for a while, LaMelo was half player, half argument. Then he went to Australia, and the whole thing got more serious. At 18, playing for the Illawarra Hawks against grown men, he averaged 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists a game. His assist-to-turnover ratio was 2.83, and that number really mattered because it screamed maturity. Suddenly, scouts who treated him like a wild card started calling him a top 3 talent. His stock jumped fast, over 20 spots in some evaluations. The conversation changed from, is this all just hype, to, wait, this guy might actually be special. Charlotte picked him 3rd in 2020, and right away he looked like he belonged. As a rookie, he averaged 15.7 points, 6.1 assists, and 5.9 rebounds. He led all rookies in assists and steals. He won Rookie of the Year. By age 20, he was already an all-star. Through his first 3 300 games, he became just the 5th player in NBA history to reach 5,000 points, 1,500 rebounds, and 2,000 assists. The names next to him were Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, Walt Frazier, and Luka Doncic. That's not normal young guard company. That's the sort of company that usually comes with giant expectations and a lot of people speaking way too soon. And speaking way too soon became a theme with him, because just when it looked like he was about to take over, his body started betraying him. The 2022-23 season opened with a grade 2 ankle sprain in the preseason. He missed the first 13 games. 3 games after he came back, he hurt the same ankle again. A month later, he sprained it again. Then in February, the real blow landed. Fractured right ankle. Surgery. Season over after 36 games. The next year looked promising for about 5 minutes. He came out flying, averaging nearly 26 points through his first 14 games. And then the surgically repaired ankle flared up again. Another shutdown. Just 22 games. Then 2024-25 piled on even more. Calf strain, recurring ankle soreness, wrist issues. Charlotte shut him down again after 47 games. That's how the numbers turned brutal. During his first 2 seasons, LaMelo had played 82% of Charlotte's games. Over the next 3, only 43%. For his full career, he'd played just 57% of the Hornets' games. That's the kind of availability profile that makes even patient front offices nervous. And the losing made the criticism louder. Charlotte's record during the injury years was 67 and 179. That's not struggling young team. That's a disaster. That's why the narrative hardened the way it did. ESPN insiders questioned how serious he was. One Western Conference scout reportedly said flat out that it was hard to build a winner around him. Robert Ory compared him to Jason Williams, basically saying all the flash was fun until the game started to matter. That stuff stuck because Charlotte kept losing no matter what LaMelo did. So the production started working against him. The more he filmed the stat sheet, the easier it became for critics to say, see, this is exactly the problem. Fun player. Wrong kind of player. Beautiful passes, weird one-legged threes, cool clips, no real results. I never totally bought that, because if you watched closely, the problem was never really his game. His game always made sense. He's 6'7", sees everything, changes pace well, gets downhill fast, and can sling passes defenders don't even realize are available until the ball's already gone. The actual problem was that Charlotte kept asking him to be the whole offense while the rest of the roster changed every other week or fell apart physically. This season finally gave him something closer to a real environment, and Charlotte handled it smarter.
They have a chance to take the lead. They haven't led since back in the first quarter when it was 5-4.
They did not come into 2025-26 pretending the answer was simply play him more. They did almost the opposite. Minutes restriction, load management, extra caution. Early in the season, they even brought him off the bench, which looked strange on paper until you understood the plan. They wanted him fresher late in games. January 8 was his first game off the bench since his rookie year, and he answered with 33 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 steals. Pretty clear message there. He got it. He bought into the preservation plan because staying on the floor had become the whole priority. Still, the biggest fix was not medical. It was roster construction. For years, LaMelo had to drag lineups that were unfinished, injured, or both. This season, he finally got help that made basketball sense.
Part of that silver medal winning team, Olympics last summer in his home country of France.
Brandon Miller made the leap people had been waiting on. He's averaging 20.6 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3.4 assists. He's become a real 3-level scorer. During Charlotte's winning streak, he was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week after averaging 26.3 points while shooting 50% from 3. That's not a sidekick in training anymore. That's a serious offensive piece. Then there's Con Canibal. The rookie from Duke has been a revelation. He's at 19.2 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 3.4 assists, shooting 48% from the field and 42.5% from 3. He's already won Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month twice. He scored in double figures in 19 straight games. At 20, he already looks like one of the deadliest shooters in the league.
He's the only Wagner we're going to see today. His brother Franz is out. dealing with an ankle injury. First two.
Miles Bridges gives him 17.5 points per game and some veteran scoring punch. Musa Diabate brings 8.7 rebounds a game, plus energy, plus rim protection, plus the sort of off-the-glass violence good teams need for their dirty work bigs. Now the infrastructure finally matches LaMelo's talent. That's the real story here. Ball, Miller, and Knipple have quietly become one of the nastiest three-man shooting groups in the NBA. Charlotte's offense ranks 4th in the league. They shoot 37.9% from 3 as a team, 3rd best in the NBA. When LaMelo sits, their offensive rating drops to 108.5, which is bottom 5 territory. When he plays, it jumps to 112.6. That's not empty calories. That's a star changing the shape of the team. And once the team around him got serious, the wins showed up fast.
Oh, then Allen maybe casually float to. LaMelo rakes away his own mess.
Charlotte opened the season 4-14. At that point, it felt like the same movie again. Nice talent, bad results. See you in the lottery. Then the whole mood shifted in January and February. The Hornets ripped off that 9-game winning streak, their longest since 1997-98, second longest in franchise history behind only the 10-game run from 1998. And it wasn't only that they were winning, it was the way they were doing it. 6 straight wins by 15 or more. A franchise record 10 straight road wins. Good teams getting smoked. Boston getting flattened by 29. ESPN analysts started calling Charlotte a dangerous playoff matchup, which would have sounded like a joke not that long ago. By the time they hit 34-34, the rewrite was underway. From 19-63 last year to over 500 this year. From league punchline to the 9th seed in the East. From maybe LaMelo is just a fun losing player to, hold on, this thing might be real. And LaMelo's own line this season tells the story cleanly enough. 19.3 points, 7.4 assists, 4.8 rebounds. More important than any of that, 51 games played. That's his longest healthy stretch in years, and it changes everything. Talent was never the mystery, availability was.
Suddenly Charlotte's got the +4 edge and rebounding. LaMelo!
Over Charlotte's last 18 games, they went 15-3. Their starting group with Ball, Knipple, Miller, Bridges, and Diabate has been crushing teams. That's not some lucky 3-week heater with random bench guys shooting out of their minds. That's a team with a real offensive engine, real spacing, and for once a roster that actually makes life easier on its star instead of harder. The player comp that keeps popping into my head is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Not because they play the same way, they don't. I mean the narrative. For a while, people treated Shai like a beautiful stats guy on a team going nowhere. Then Oklahoma City's infrastructure caught up. The team started winning. And overnight, he became a winner. Same player, different context. The conversation changed because the team changed. That's what's happening here with LaMelo. People thought he needed to sand his game down, play safer, act more conventional, maybe stop being himself a little. He did not need any of that. He needed a healthy body, better lineup continuity, and teammates who could actually punish the space his style creates. So no, the league did not figure LaMelo out.
Control, another steal by LaMelo. LaMelo, top of the key, 3-pointer!
If anything, the league's now adjusting to the fact that Charlotte finally put a real team around him. And that's why the season matters so much. It's not only about one good stretch. It's about proving that the old criticism was incomplete, maybe even lazy. The flashy passes were never the issue. The one-legged threes were never the issue. The issue was that for too long, Charlotte was asking one gifted, injury-hit young guard to make broken rosters look healthy. Now the core is healthier. The foundation actually looks real. And LaMelo Ball looks exactly what he always looked like to people who paid attention early. A problem. So now the only real question is how far this can go. Can Charlotte turn this into an actual playoff run? Can they make the jump from dangerous story to dangerous team? Let me know in the comments.